and welcome back to another session of microorganisms, friend and a foe. So guys, we have already discussed about what microorganisms are, where can we find these microorganisms, yes, and the various diseases caused by microorganisms in human beings as well as in plants. So today in this session, we are going to discuss about the food, how these microorganisms spoils the food and how we can prevent our food from spoiling. Yes guys, so today is going to be an important session and a very interesting session because we are going to discuss about our favorite food. So without further delay, let's get inside the food. So microorganisms, friend and a foe, food. Of course, all of us loves to have our favorite food, isn't it or not? And mostly, especially in these lockdown days, we are having some interesting favorite foods at our home, isn't it? But any one of you, any of us like spoiled food? No? Yes, of course, no. Because we know that by having that spoiled food, we can suffer from a number of diseases. So, everyone hates and throws away the spoiled foods, isn't it or not? So, that spoiled food, what can we call it at? What is the biological term used for the spoiled food? Of course, it's called as your perishable food. So, food can be categorized into two ways, guys. Yes, food can be categorized in two ways, that is perishable foods and non-perishable food. Yes, of course. Yes, one is spoiled food and another is unspoiled food, and that spoiled food can be called as perishable food that can be easily spoiled by microorganisms. Yes, what is this perishable food means? The perishable food are such type of food which can easily be spoiled by microorganisms, and we can't store that food for a longer period of time. For example, your cooked food. Yes or no? Cooked food easily gets spoiled within 2 days or 3 days or not. And even in the summer days, the food which is cooked in the morning gets spoiled by the evening. Yes or no? Because the microorganisms acts over that food and spoils the food, and it is very dangerous to have such perishable foods. Yes, so the food can be categorized into two categories. Yes, food can be categorized into two categories. One is your perishable food and another one is your non-perishable food. Clearly, perishable food means the food which is easily spoiled by microorganisms. And non-perishable means non-spoiled food or unspoiled food. The food which cannot be spoiled by the microorganisms are called as your non-perishable food. Understood guys? The food can be categorized into two categories. One is your perishable food and another is non-perishable food. What is your perishable food? Which gets easily spoiled by microorganism. Non-perishable food which cannot be spoiled by the microorganism. Yes, then. So can you give some examples? Can you give some examples of perishable food? Number of examples: fruits, vegetables, cooked food, bread. Number of food that we cannot store for more than 2 days and which gets easily spoiled by microorganism. On the contrary, your non-perishable food, your flour, your spices, yes, all these are non-perishable because we can store them for a longer period of time. We can store them for 4, 5, 6 months even. So, such food which cannot be easily spoiled by microorganisms are called as your non-perishable food. You can give a number of examples for it. Sugar, salt, spices, flour, whatever. Yes, which can be stored for 4 to 5 months or 6 months or more than that. Such foods are called as your non-perishable food or unspoiled food. Yes. Now the thing is that we no need to concern about non-perishable food because we know that it will be stored for longer period of time. But our concern is to how we can store the food from easily get spoiled by the microorganism. Yes, what is our main concern? Our main concern is to store the food, to preserve the food. You might have seen in number of your juices. Yes, number of juices or chips packet, and back at the back side of the packets, the written preservatives are added. Why preservatives are added? To extend the life period of that packet. Yes, which cannot be spoiled by the microorganisms because of these preservatives. So let's see how we can preserve the food. Yes, food preservation. Yes, the next important thing is food preservation. And food can be preserved by using two techniques. Yes, food can be preserved by using two techniques. The first one is your bacteriostatic or traditional method. Bacteriostatic method is your traditional method, and second one is your bactericidal method. Yes, what are the two methods which are used for the preservation of the food? What are the two methods, guys? What are the two methods which are used for the food preservation? The two methods which are used for the preservation of food are bacteriostatic method. What it is? Bacteriostatic method, and second one is your bactericidal method. Understood? Food preservation by two methods. Bacteriostatic method and bactericidal method. Once again, what are the two methods of food preservation? The two methods of food preservation are bacteriostatic method and bactericidal method. Now let's see what is this bacteriostatic method. What is this traditional method of preserving the food? There are exactly 5 methods. There are 5 methods which comes under your bacteriostatic traditional method for food preservation. Yes, you understood or not? Generally, food can be preserved by 2 methods, broadly by 2 methods. Bacteriostatic method, got it? Bacteriostatic method, and the second one is your bactericidal method. So let's focus on bacteriostatic method. Bacteriostatic method means it's a method of food preservation, and it involves 5 techniques. It involves 5 techniques of food preservation. What are that 5 techniques? First one is your sun drying method. Yes, the first method or the first technique which comes under your bacteriostatic method is your sun drying method. Done. Second one, salting and pickling method. The second method is your salting and pickling method. The third method is sugar syrup. Yes, the fourth method is freezing method, and the last one is chemical method. Yes, what are the 5 techniques which is involved in bacteriostatic method for food preservation? The first one, sun drying. Yes, the first method which comes under your bacteriostatic method is sun drying. Yes, salting and pickling, sugar syrups, freezing, and chemical method. What are the 5 methods, guys? Once again, what are the 5 methods which comes under your bacteriostatic method? That is sun drying method. Done. Second one, salting and pickling. Third one, sugar syrup, freezing method, and chemical method. These 5 techniques are involved in bacteriostatic method for preserving the food. Done. So now we need to understand what exactly these techniques are. How it is being used to preserve a food. The first one, sun drying. Of course, drying by sun. See, sometimes what happens when a foodstuff contains moisture or water, it gets easily spoiled. What we need to do is to dry up that moisture. Yes, the water content should be removed from that foodstuff, and that is possible by sun drying method, by heating from the sun. Yes, when the water is completely removed from the foodstuff, it is called as dehydration. And that dehydration method for preserving the food can be done by sun drying. When a foodstuff is dried in the sun, all the water will be removed, and of course it can be preserved for a longer period of time. A number of fruits, you can see a number of dry fruits, vegetables, fishes, meats are being sun dried. to preserve it for a longer period of time. It's nothing but removing the moisture, removing the water from the food to extend its life period, and this uses the heat of the sun to remove the water. Yes, this is the first method. The second one is salting and pickling. What exactly is salting and what exactly is pickling? Pickling. We love to have achar with paratha or not? Yes, achar. How is achar prepared? How is the pickle prepared? Yes, by adding excess of salt, spices, oil to preserve the achar or preserve the pickle for a longer period of time. You might have seen your mother preparing pickle using lots of oils and salts and masalas. Why did she do so? Yes, so that pickle can be stored for more than 3 to 4 years even. Yes, so excess of salt is also added. Salt. You came across dry fishes. Yes, dry fishes होती है ना, सूखी भी मच्छी. So excess of salt is added. Yes, excess of salt is added to preserve, to extend the lifeline of that food stuff. Your fishes, some vegetables even, and pickles means you come across number of pickles. Third method is sugar syrup. रसगुल्ला, गुलाब जामुन. किस किस के मुंह में पानी आ रहा है? Come on. Rasgulla, gulab jamun, squashes, jam. Yes, you might have observed it contains loads of sugar because when you are using sugar concentration, which contains more than 70% of sugar, bacteria will not grow in such food materials. Yes guys, it's a trick. So generally these rasgulla, tin gulab jamun, squashes, jams, and lots of things are there that uses 70% of sugar syrup because sugar prevents the growth of microorganisms and hence preventing the spoil of the food. So adding of sugar syrup also adds the lifeline to a food stuff. Yes, adding of salt, adding of spices, adding of sugar, all these helps in food preservation. Next, freezing method. We all know. We used to preserve our food in deep freezer or not? Yes or no? So, generally the growth of microorganism is not at all possible below 0 degrees centigrade. It will kill the microorganism. So, preserving the food materials below 0 degrees centigrade helps in preserving the food, and that technique can be called as your freezing method. Yes, food is freezed below 0 degrees centigrade. Why 0 degrees centigrade? Because it will kill the microorganism and it will not grow the microorganism. Understood now? Next, the last and the final method which comes under your bacteriostatic method is your chemical method. Chemical, a number of chemical potassium, sodium chemicals are being used to preserve the food materials for a longer period of time. Yes guys, so these are the 5 methods which comes under your bacteriostatic method to preserve the food. Understood? Now let's move on to the second method of food preservation, that is bactericidal method. It's a modern method guys. Especially these are modern techniques which are used to preserve the food. And here four techniques are being used and comes under your bactericidal method. What is the second method? Bactericidal method. And this bactericidal method involves 5 techniques for the food preservation. What are the 5 techniques? Irradiation method, radiation method. The food is being treated with gamma rays and X-ray rays to kill the microorganism, and it will preserve the food. Yes, irradiation method means it's a method where gamma rays, X-rays are used to kill the microorganisms in a foodstuff, and hence food can be preserved. Yes, the second method is canning. We came across number of canned foods. Food is generally stored in the cans, and that cans undergo sterilization to kill the germs. Yes, so such techniques are called as your canning method. When the food is preserved in can and such cans undergoes the sterilization process to kill the microorganisms, and that method is called canning method, and that method comes under your bactericidal method. Done. The third one is bottling method. Yeah, guys, we use the bottle of milk. Yes, the milk bottle which are sold in the markets can be preserved for a longer period of time because the bottled milk undergo the process of pasteurization. Yes, what is this pasteurization? It was first of all developed and discovered by Louis Pasteur. What is this pasteurization method? The milk is boiled. Yes, first of all, the milk is boiled above 70 degrees centigrade and cooled at 10 degrees centigrade, and which helps in killing the microorganisms is called as bottling, or is called as pasteurization, and the milk is preserved in that bottle. Yes. The fourth one is your vacuum drying method. What is this vacuum drying method, guys? Milk converted into milk powder. That is vacuum method. Yes, generally foodstuffs are stored for a longer period of time when it is in powdered form, and that powdered form can be made by the process called vacuum drying, and it's a modern technique which comes under your bactericidal method. Understood, guys? Yes, now you understood what is food, how food can be preserved, and how will you recognize exactly the food is spoiled? By the smell, by the taste, by the flavor. Yes or no? We can easily recognize whether the food is spoiled or not. Yes, and once we detect that the food is spoiled, we should throw it out. Why? Because it may lead to number of diseases. Yes, and food are of two types, perishable food and non-perishable food. Food can be preserved by two methods, bacteriostatic method and bactericidal method. Bacteriostatic method undergoes 5 methods. What are those 5 methods, guys? These are sun drying, salting and pickling, sugar syrup, freezing method and chemical method. And the second one is your bactericidal method, that is irradiation method, canning method, bottling method and vacuum drying. By using these days, we are having number of foodstuffs that can be preserved for a longer period of time. Yes, and I hope, guys, you understood today's session of your food preservation. Again, we will meet with another important discussion, that is about nitrogen cycle. Until then, stay at home, stay safe, see you.